It's an absolute honor to be speaking with Max Cavalera today. We are soon to be welcoming him back to our shores here in Australia on the Third World Tour. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's close to nighttime here in Phoenix, Arizona. Um, I've been jamming a lot all day. I'm actually making a new Soulfly record right now, so I've been doing a lot of riffs for that, creating those max riffs that you mentioned, you know. Uh, but also super excited for Australia. I can't think of a better way to start the year, man. It's a great what a way to kick the 2025 by coming to Australia and touring with my brother with this nostalgic material that we wrote when we were kids, and we are now, old men playing this stuff in front of legions of fans. It's a great feeling. It's gonna be great. I love Australia. I think it's gonna be a massive fun and a massive tour, and I'm super excited for it.
Oh, and we're absolutely stoked to have you back again. So you mentioned, yeah, the albums that you've been recording, re-recording, the ones you've done with Igor as kids. You've re-recorded Morbid Visions, you've done Bestial Devastation, and most recently you've done Schizophrenia.
Right. It was I mean, it was kind of like I think like I always wanted. People ask me like, "Were you nervous and anxious about recording?" Like, of course, but I think I was more curious because you got to understand when we made those records when we were kids and we made those records, they were made in Brazil with engineers that didn't like metal, did not understand metal. That's why they don't sound those records. They don't sound good. Of course, they got their own charm, and it's cool that people love Morbid Visions because it's out of tune and all this stuff. But as a musician, I was like, I want to show them what these records really sound like. Like let's show them what these records really really mean to us. And so I think me and Igor went on it with this kind of like full respect the original, didn't change any riffs. We kept all the original riffs, or the structures of the songs are all the same. We just record them really, really, really good with a great producer named Arthur Risk, and we kept everything dirty and grimy. It's still super angry as the original, just with a killer sound. And I think that's the recipe for why success, why it did so good. And because I don't know, but uh, the feedback I got it from the fans and a lot of media people was that they loved these re-recordings. They really a lot of people thought that we improved on the originals, and I like to think that we did that as well. I think that you can actually hear the riffs on songs like Mayhem and War, and uh you can feel the energy in stuff like From the Past Comes the Storms, which I think, by the way, the new recordings are actually closer to the original demo that we did back before we made Schizophrenia. We made a demo for called The Past Reborns the Storms, which is wrong English, and the re-recordings sound more like the demo than the record. So I think we gonna yeah, I think we brought those tracks, those songs back from the dead, man. Like a lot of people either didn't know that those albums existed or they haven't heard them in a long time. And we got to like bring them back we brought them back to focus, and we get to like play them now in front of a lot of young people that never saw that before, and it's gonna be great. It was an incredible experience to record them, relearn them, fall in love with the material, feel nostalgic about the old days because we were like, the beginning of extreme metal. Like Best of Devastation is like pound for pound early extreme metal material, like we were together with Battery and Hellhammer, like the early, caveman pioneers of this stuff, so it's great that we had a chance. And I think it's great that we were actually musicians that got to do that. A lot of musicians don't have the chance to do it. They die before they can do this, or they cannot perform anymore. We are still able to do it. So I think it was an amazing thing to get to re-record them. And it's even more amazing that we get to play them live.
Yeah, what an opportunity. And yeah, you touched on so many things there that I wanted to ask you about. Um, First and foremost, yeah, as you put it, whether you're gonna like dive into the more vintage, if you were, aspects of the recordings at the time, because there's a whole bunch of cool associated around that as well. It's like the vintage is always coming back. The vinyl sounds. People are getting into playing things on Walkmans and running tapes and stuff again. So it's like that whole era and time period is kind of really coming back into the fore at the moment. And then, yeah, wanting to bring in all the advantages of modern music production, and perhaps even seeing or listening to those songs through a more modern lens, like with the your choice of perhaps what guitars you used and what amps you used on those
Right.
recordings.
So yeah, I use a lot of my guitar sound was I wanted to do something that was be influenced by a bit like Tom Warrior, um, Celtic Frost sound mixed with Entombed with the heavy metal true buzzsaw pedal. And I think I found like a mix of both. So it's not all the way Entombed and it's not all the way Celtic Frost. It's in the middle. It's like it's a cross between those two. And the same with Travis. Travis found a really cool guitar sound that complements mine. Um, I told Igor to use rototoms and put the mic inside the toms like we did the original Schizophrenia. So the toms sounds like they kind of sound like metal, almost like tubular. It's kind of a weird sounding, and that goes against everything that engineers like. That's why it was funny. Like I remember the engineer going, I don't know about these ideas, man. You guys are getting kind of crazy. Um, it's a bit unprofessional. And I was like, exactly. That's like we want unprofessional. Because that's how we were when we made those records. You gotta have that kind of punk mentality a little bit to get into this state of mind of these records. So
Hmm.
yeah, so we kind of had to tell the engineer like, hey man, we know what we're doing. All right, just let us do our thing. And then we had a great producer like Arthur Risk, which has done so many good records. Uh, his last record, Blood Incantation, is came out great, and he's a really good wizard of sounds. And I think like again, it's an improvement of the original. But we kept the essence of the original. It's brutality, anger, all there from the original. Just sounds more modern, but without we didn't really use really like the all the things that were at our disposal in the studio. A lot of it we didn't even use it because we didn't want it to make it that modern. Like we don't want AI recording shit. We want this shit to sound real. Real people is playing this. So, there was no overdubs, no Pro Tools, everything recorded by hand.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
Wow.
the recording is actually really close to the original record, except we have more time and we have better equipment.
Well, yeah, the recordings all sound just, yeah, absolutely blistering, and being able to, yeah, revisit those albums with the additional fidelity that has afforded you. I mean, it's no surprise to me that people are saying, you've done a much better job this time around. But again, those original recordings are definitely still cool in their own way as well.
Right, they have their own charm, and that's what's great. You get both worlds. If you want to listen to the original, they are there. They already are there, and you can always go back to them. But if you want to know how we feel about the songs, how we would like them to sound, go listen to the re-recordings, because those are like the closest thing to like how we envision those songs in the first place. Like we had a vision for them. We couldn't make the vision complete because of bad studios, bad engineers, and no money. And now we had the chance to do it with the all, the technology at our disposal. But there's both, like I love both. I love the originals and I love the re-recordings. Like I don't know, like if you ask me like which one I prefer the re-recordings myself as a musician, just because you get to hear the riffs better.
Yeah, it's almost like you should have gone from morbid visions to resurrected visions.
Right? Yeah, we actually I feel that we brought those things back to life. Some kind of voodoo intervention, you know.
And then that blend again between sort of the classic and the modern, that also seems to be reflected in the lineup that you're touring with for these shows.
Yeah, so the lineup is great because you have, of course, me and Igor, been through a lot, doing this stuff for 40 years. And then you have the young guys. We had Travis and my son Igor Amadeus. They are the young blood, the like the young energy that it's really vital for to have in a band. And if you want to like kind of like it works. It's something that I think we feed off the energy of the young guys, and they actually feed off our wisdom. Our all the years of of wisdom that we have invested in the metal. The combination of old and young is really good. That's what I'm trying to say. I think once we get on the stage, it's a perfect mix of old and new together.
No, definitely very, very apt for what is going forward and going ahead with what the Cavalera conspiracy is. You've also done some or a lot of original material with the Cavalera conspiracy outfit as well. Is that something that you're looking to return to, especially perhaps with the current lineup?
Eventually, I need more time. I have so many projects because I have Soulfly, Killer BQ, Go Ahead and Die, Nail Bomb, Cavalera. So the a lot of the plates are full, and right now I'm working on a new Soulfly. That's what I need to do for next year. Playing live is different. We're gonna do some Cavalera shows. We're gonna do some Nail Bomb shows. Um, but yeah, at some point, eventually, we will. Me and Igor always talk about doing an EP, like kind of like Slayer haunting the chapel. We kind of wanted to do our own version of that. So hope maybe that'll be the next thing that we do is an EP for Cavalera.
And in the meantime, I'm happy to patiently wait and get a new Soulfly album in the more immediate future. Uh, but it's no secret that you are greatly loved here in Australia. I it's just there's so many bands that have been influenced by you and what you've done over the years. Like for instance, a long-standing friendship with an Australian band called Segression. But yeah, just so many bands I hear when I go out live that I can just like, yeah, I know where you're picking up that style of riffage from. That's straight out of Max's hands. Obviously reinterpreted, not exact complete clones, but you can tell that influence is definitely there. And then yeah, we just love every time you come out, no matter who you're coming here with. I know we were graced to be the only country in the world that got to, for instance, see Killer Be Killed perform live. might be a bit
Yeah,
greedy, but I'm also, can we keep that just for us? We miss out on so much.
yeah. Uh, it's true. We haven't played anywhere else, and it was an amazing run. Was those festivals are amazing, and the shows with Lamb of God were great. Um, eventually, it's at some point I'm gonna also do some more stuff with Killer BQ as well. Like I say, I think my problem is more time. I need more. There's not enough hours in the day.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
And
it's
another
cool.
thing that's been going on for you like fairly recently, and just it's just coincidence that I pulled this out of the cupboard the other day, but
Yeah, man. Serious. That is so cool because I love that record so much. I think Point Blank is by far one of my favorite records of all time. It was just a blast to make it. Um, of course, we really didn't care for anything. We just wanted to make a brutal, pissed off record full of, you know, industrial sounds and samplers and riffage. And it's crazy that Nailbomb is 30 years old next year. And we actually gonna come and do some festivals in Europe in the summer. It's great. I love it. I think it's again, it's one of those records that would be a shame not to play live because it's so good. Um, like I don't feel the necessity to re-record an album record, but I feel that live it needs to be played. People need to hear an album. In a weird way, an album Point Blank was almost like prophetic. The stuff we were singing about is what's happening right now in the world. You know, uh,
unfortunately.
unfortunately, yeah. But you got stuff like 24-hour bullshit with like media. You have sick life with the drug problem. You have guerrillas with the war in the Ukraine. Uh, you know, yeah, like even the chorus of guerrillas, it's eerie. Always away from home, learn to hate, fight for the land, fucking waste. I think that's how those kids feel like. Those Russian kids must feel like right now going to Ukraine. Uh, yeah, it's a prophetic album that is actually more relevant now than when it first came out. It's crazy.
And again, unfortunately, too true. Uh, but still, we love those riffs. We love those songs. So the
Oh, they're
positive side
great.
of it is
The
there's a
records are
there's a
amazing.
there's a chance we might be able to get to hear them live in our faces. So yeah,
I have a
definitely
lot
would
of
be.
fun with everything. We should do a tour with Killer BQ, Cavalera, Nailbomb, and Soulfly, all in the same package.
And most importantly, bring that to Australia.
Yes.
Uh, we're almost shy of time, and I could probably just chew your ear off for years, given the opportunity. But before this meeting is out of the way, I've just got one last question for you. Um, you're essentially, yeah, an unstoppable riff machine. So many signature riffs that you have created in all of your different projects over the years. If you were to sit down and teach, a beginner guitarist one of your riffs, what is and to kind of like what is Max Cavalera's "Smoke on the Water"?
Well, one of my favorite riffs um, of all time is "Refuse and Resist," and I think it's a simple riff. It's kind of like it's the closest thing that I get from a real riot in terms of making uh, the sonic feeling of a riot is Refuse Resist. And I think the that right there is my definitely my smoke on the water for sure. Um, I actually I've been through the years, I've been very tempted to do a variation of that, but I always end up scratching because it's too close to the original, and people will be like, "Oh, come on, you can't do that. You can't rip yourself off like that." uh,
And Max, if you ever do redo Refuse Resist, can you please get in touch with Manga Video and get them to organize a full anime film clip for you? Because that is like from you one of the most things that's embedded in my conscience, my psyche is every time in the mid to late 90s putting a manga video on, Akira, Ninja Scroll, so many that's like the cherry of putting those videos on was always getting that little show reel of different animations with Refuse Resist just fucking slamming behind it. It's
I have
just
to do
so
that.
quintessential.
I have to do that. That sounds cool. I'm gonna try to get some image and put the song, see how they match together. That sounds cool.
Oh man, it's the best. But again, thank you so much for taking time out to
What
speak
is
with us
what's
today.
your favorite? What's your favorite Max riff out of Microwave?
Oh look, maybe Eye for an Eye.
Oh,
Off
that's a
the
good
first
one.
Soulfly record. It's
And
so
very
chunky,
simple.
like it's what just O's and ones, but man, it just fucking it slays.
Yeah. All right. That's a good one. I like that one.
But yeah, I'm glad you had an answer because yeah, I mean I guess I had an answer too, but yeah, just so many killer riffs, killer be killed
No,
riffs.
the good thing about the Eye for an Eye riff is that you can play them with one string. Everybody knows that I'm famous for playing four strings, but Eye for an Eye, if you only have one string in your guitar, you can play Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, perfect beginner riff. All right, amazing, Max. We look forward to seeing you on our shores. It can't come soon enough, and I'm going to be there.
Thank you, brother. See you down under. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.